Let's go. We're live.
Yeah.
Arnaud.
Pedro. Again.
Again, welcome back.
Thank you.
We recorded once before,
Mhm.
right when we first met.
I think the first year we met,
Yeah.
2 years ago, 3 years ago? 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more than that, actually.
Mm.
It was before
2020?
COVID. Yeah.
Before? No, after.
No?
No, after COVID.
Okay. But
Because we start the horse riding with your family.
that's right.
During the COVID, so
Yeah.
it must be after.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
And it was slightly better conditions now.
Mhm.
We have video as well, so people can see us talk this time.
Wow.
People can see that you're real.
I'm scared.
Not just a myth. But that episode that we recorded was one of the favorites that people who listen to my show, not that many people, but the people that did listen, it was one of the favorites that people
Wow.
heard. They're like, who is this guy? Where did you find him? It's incredible. Like
Yeah.
these stories. So thank you for coming back.
No, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And you know that we are friends, so whenever you have time,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, whenever you have time as well now, right?
Yes,
You're
it's
a busy
bit like
man.
that. I have to calm down, but it's difficult to calm down
Yeah.
because it's the passion.
Yeah.
And it's just a question of love. Is what we were talking about just earlier. You know, my time is dividing between my passion, my work, mainly about nature and conservation.
Yeah. Well, let's go there because this is a new podcast. We're starting afresh. So, can you give us a little bit of insight to the people watching who don't know you or who don't know much about you, who you are, what it is that you do?
Beside this passion, I'm the father of Fatima, so it's also where I put my time, especially when I'm back in Portugal, this marvelous country. But yes, I'm taking care about protected areas, conservation of biodiversity and natural resources. Everywhere, everywhere I can help, you know, and even here in Portugal, I'm started slowly but steady to put my hands into it, in our marvelous city of Cascais. But now I'm in Zanzibar, so it's 2 islands in the Indian Ocean, in the country named Tanzania. So Tanzania is 2 countries that have decided to be together. You have the Tanganyika, so the mainland, and Zanzibar, so it's the 2 islands in front of the mainland. And yes, it's called the Spicy Island. They have been for centuries in the middle of the trade roads of the Indian Ocean from Asia, Africa, and Europe. So it's a really interesting place to be and to work. Despite there are many things to handle and to develop and to help, because I'm there for helping the national experts to be more in line on the international standards of conservation, to help them on compliance and so on.
Where did this all start for you? Because you grew up in Africa, right?
Yeah. I grew up in Africa. I'm from a family that have a long history in Africa as well, and I fall in love about nature really quickly. I grew up in places where I was nearby protected areas. I was used to go with my parents and my family in those protected areas to camp there, to spend time there, and also in Europe. So definitely I've been touched about this beauty.
Was your family involved in nature conservation as well?
Not really, but as a user of the natural resources, I mean, like the tourists are, or those who are hiking in the forest for grabbing some mushrooms, or spending times there to get some fresh air. We are all involved in the management of those protected areas, and we are all involved in the management of the natural resources in general, because we are linked to it. We are part of it. It's our vessel, the Mother Earth.
Yeah, we've only got one so far.
Yeah, but we are trying to move away, which why not? Is a good. It's a good idea.
Well, you're up close looking at it, so you'd know if how dangerous it's getting and how low we're running on the resources.
Yeah, no, it's getting worse, and obviously more and more we are numerous in this planet. More and more we need to feed ourselves, to have some comfort, and to share the resources and the revenue of our industry, trade, and so on. And that's mean that maybe we have to tackle some issues like poverty and so on, to make sure that everybody has enough to live, and therefore maybe changing their behavior. Why not going for insects to feed the humanity? But for that change, we need to have already some security, and then thinking about something else.
Why insects? Why would we?
Well, because it's the most easier to grow, I guess, and also is less using water than cattle, or every type of animal we are growing now. Also, you can. It's full of protein, and you can grow them a huge amount in small area. So you don't need to use actually to fall down all the Amazonia to get some steaks. You can have a steak from. It's okay. It's a full steak. It's not going to bleed. Well, maybe it's going to bleed. No, the chemist can do such things.
I want blood in my steak.
Yeah, no, but this is. I think that if we want to take care of the planet as we are going to be numerous, we have to change our behavior somehow. And it maybe is the evolution, the natural evolution of the humanity. Also, but yeah, definitely in the evolution, as we have been taught, depending on the context and the food you have at your disponibility, you change your behavior, you change your attitude, you are changing as well. So
we adapt.
Exactly.
But so to bring it back a little bit, because the way you just describe it, like management and conservation, but it doesn't really give a clear picture, because now I know you a little bit better. I know the type of things that you do for work, so it's a little bit more crazy than that. Like the some of the situations that you've described that you've been in, what type of work, like what does an actual work day for you look like when you're out in the field? Because obviously I know you spend a lot of time at the office as well on the computer, lots of emails, lots of projects, lots of bureaucracy, but then comes the fun part of going into the field. Can you describe your job, like what you do there when you're actually on the ground?
So but my job is really diverse, as you said, and basically this job is really diverse because you have to take care about areas, and sometimes they are huge, and you have population there, and so you either take care about administration, bureaucracy, and so on, logistic, and so forth, because you need munition to go in war, to be able to do the action.
To go in war? I thought you were doing conservation.
Yeah, it is, but depend where you do the conservation, and but after that you are, when you got these resources available and well managed and well organized, you are able to do your proper work in the field, and you have either to do work on the law enforcement to make sure that the rules from the country, from the agreement you have with the community, from the rules defining the management plan of those areas are in place, and everybody follows that rules. Also, you have to work in community engagement, so you have to make sure that the people living there are well living enough, that they are not looking for surviving with the resources available in those protected areas, because everybody needs to feed themselves, and every father needs their child going to schools and having a better life. So definitely, if they are staying poor, the natural resources will be in danger in those protected area. And also, sometimes I'm taking care about education programs, about communication. It's also a question of tourism activity. You need to engage authorities, so it's really diverse.
Manage the bureaucracy of the local countries, talk to the politicians.
Exactly. Being aware about the cultural way to deal with some activities there.
Yeah.
But this morning, I was discussing with people in Indonesia about the way they are working, because they are part of the project. And I'm busy physically traveling in Zanzibar, because the project has to be starting there, and we start from the scratch, like what I was doing in Guinea when we had our last talk.
Yeah.
And but we have already project in place in Indonesia and Philippines, and I have to to be sure that we are in line with what is going on there, and then that means that we have to discuss about the work plan and so on and so forth, even at distance. And this morning we were discussing about the high level of corruption you can have in some area, either at the national level but also at the local level. So yes, every day you have to deal with such things. And what I like very much in this job is every day is different. You have to be able to tackle with surprise every time, and to be prepared to have a surprise every day.
In dangerous situations in a lot of these places, because a lot of them are very politically unstable, right?
Yes, yes. Bon, politically, it can be, and especially at the election time, when this election is always a
Elections in
difficult.
Africa is a dangerous time.
Yes, and everywhere in the world, and I can see that. In Indonesia, they are now voting for their new president, and yes, you have some movement, because everything can be changed, and the people who are earning and having the facility today, maybe tomorrow they won't have it, they won't have access to the power again. So that means yes, a lot of people can lose things, and definitely at the level of protected area, was when such things happen, it can change drastically the way you can manage the protected area. For instance, in Indonesia, some 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't remember, you had a really famous minister for fishery.
Minister for what? Sorry?
Fishery
Fishery. Yeah.
and environment, and she was a lady, and she was really tough. They had a lot of poachers coming from the neighboring country. They had political issues with China from some islands that they are disputing, and so on and so forth. And she decided to burn those illegal boats. It was a bit tough, but definitely it has worked on the reality directly on the sea. The same with the fish bombing. She was really tough, and she tried to tackle the issues.
This is fish bombing, meaning people use dynamite for fishing.
Yes, there is more how you can say that, they are using chemics
Chemicals.
Yeah, chemicals to make explosive. It's not really dynamited directly, but it can be, yes.
Yeah, chemicals might be even worse than.
But it's just exploding, and definitely you have pollution. The blast is destroying everything. And
How does that work? They just come in, they blow up, drop some bombs underwater, and then pick up everything that floats to the top, or
yeah, exactly. And if you try to catch them at that moment, they can even send some bomb in your boat.
collateral damage.
Yeah, it's okay. It's in the sea, you know. It's in the sea.
Yeah, well, you're messing with their way of life in a way, with their way of being able to sustain themselves.
But I see two things, you know. If they have to sustain, and obviously you have hunters or fishers that are fishing for sustain themselves and their family, and if they are doing that with a good practice, why not? I would say is completely allowed, but it's for trafficking. It's for making a lot of money. So you have to take a lot of those animals. You are using those illegal gears, and you have a lot of collateral impacts. Those are the threats we are trying to tackle, because it's only business.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to sustain, no problem. If you want to do business, this is an issue.
More problematic.
Yeah, but definitely after that we can even discuss, you know, because business also helps to give jobs and to develop some areas. So through discussion, negotiation, through spatial planning and such tools, you can change and organize, you know, the activities and the way they are using the natural resources.
From my limited experience, a lot of these cases isn't even the local fishermen, so much as big international vessels coming from other countries and using the marine spaces to then take the business back to their country. So the local economies don't even benefit from whatever little economic progress is made.
Yeah. And you have crazy things, you know. Sometimes when countries are dealing with these big companies or other countries, fleet, they always want to have benefits of it more than the taxes. You know, for instance, having also some fish. Then when those big boats arrive and with tons and tons of fish and try to sell it on the country, they destroy the small market of the small fishermen, because the price of the fish is just decreasing, and most of the fish are coming from those boats and no more from the small fishermen. So most of the time they don't allow those boats to bring the fish on land, and that's why they can go back with the fish and sell the fish at a better price in their own countries and making more revenue. So sometimes it's really tricky to find the best solution, and obviously most of the countries in the world, even in Portugal, even in France, we don't have enough means, enough vessels to monitor every fisher boat, you know. So it's very complex.
Is technology helping with the monitoring? So the more advanced computer systems that don't necessarily need humans, like the automation that's going on.
I would say, yeah. I would say that it can be a solution, but we won't be able to tackle the 100% of the traffic and the unfair situation that occurs today in the world. Is like the cocaine and trafficking and weapon trafficking and so on. It's obviously when you find a solution to tackle it, then they find a better solution, and it never end.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's the nature of crime, isn't it? You
Uh,
find a way to stop them, and they find a way to get around you
yeah,
again.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's never-ending cycle.
Exactly, exactly.
What are some of the things that you're trying to implement to help this?
But for instance, at the moment, when I see, what do you mean, corruption, crimes?
Well, yeah, obviously different things, right?
Yeah.
Let's say with the illegal vessels coming into to these fisheries, these marine areas from other countries, and then decimating the local economy. Is that what you're working
Mm,
more towards, or what are your projects more focused on?
yeah, this is at a national level. When you take care about protected areas, um, already the level of the work you have to handle to take care about this small piece of the sea or terrestrial area is already enough. You can take care about the buffer zone as well, but if you want to take care about every piece of the sea in the country, it won't be possible. So obviously, yes, we try to avoid they are fishing inside the border of the protecting zone. I mean, these big vessels, but definitely the local people can fish there. We are trying to define some zone where you have temporary closure or non-take zone, and those other area where they can fish, but with good gears. I mean,
Yeah, good techniques that aren't as damaging to the environment as a whole,
exactly,
and allow for the propagation of the species to continue
exactly.
and protect. You work a lot in implementing marine protected areas,
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yes.
and then setting down what the rules are for those marine protected areas, because it doesn't mean that nobody can fish there. It means that it has to be managed,
Yeah, yeah.
and managed in a sustainable or trying to be sustainable way.
Exactly, exactly. So no using fish bombing, no using spear gun.
No spear guns.
Yes, I mean that they're in the marine protected area. It's the national rules. They have said no spear guns inside. Actually, you cannot fish with swimming gears. So you cannot fish with your mask. You cannot fish with your tanks. You cannot fish with those gears.
But is that actually worse?
What do you mean?
Is it worse, let's say, to have a person with a spear gun and a mask in the water than to have a trawler with a net?
No, in those areas with the corals, you cannot have the trawler. The trawler are a bit more further.
Okay.
The area I'm speaking now is in Tanzania, in Zanzibar, so it's directly on the reef.
Okay.
And then obviously when you go there with a mask and a spear gun, you are more precise to get the fish.
Mm-hmm.
They are also using a beach scene, so they are really putting the net on the corals, anchor with um, whatever they find, stones, a piece of corals or whatever, and they push the fish inside.
Mm-hmm.
So
But this is also an illegal method that you're trying to combat.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Because the idea behind that is the coral is the nursery of the fish
Mm-hmm.
that allows all the chain to grow, and you will have the good fish for those trawlers and those people who want to use ring nets and whatever a bit further outside the limit. Is to be able, yes, to get to have a breeding area.
Yeah.
So that's why spear gun are not allowed there.
Yeah. And I guess when you come into like this Zanzibar project is just starting, right?
Yes.
And so when you're coming in there now, your objective is to reconnaissance first, to understand what's there, and then to understand what the best plan of action is, or how does that work when you come in and say, okay, I want to protect. Now you're working with the fisheries. You're working with the marine protected areas.
Hmm.
What is the? How do you start? Where do you start, and what do you do?
So I would say that thanks to all the people that I have worked there before, we had already an idea where to start, and obviously my company there, the CEO and all the staffs. Even if they have signed the agreement with the state to co-manage this area last August, they have done yes such mission of evaluation, of monitoring of what is feasible and why not. But me, I'm there to help them to define the best way to enforce the rules. This is the first priority I have, to make sure that um, we are uh, we have a set of rules that is sustained to manage by us, by the state and the community, to make sure that the resources um, recover quickly, and to make sure that we stop completely with those very harmful way to fish bombing, poison, and those nets that are destroying the corals. I would say that maybe if the states allow, in some years, we could have area where spear guns is allowed for tourism. Um, why not? If it is super selective and with people following the things. But today the idea is really to make sure that the corals is recovering, like the fish resource. The main focus is on enforcing the rules. And in the three countries I'm speaking, so Philippines, Indonesia, and Zanzibar, which is really interesting, is the municipality, the local community can define their bylaws, and they have more or less the capacity to enforce those bylaws. So is with this dimension that we are going to see if we can sustain our enforcement activities there, because definitely without the help of the local community, it's impossible to manage those areas.
Are the local communities on board with what you're doing? Are they happy that you're trying to implement this?
Yes, I would say yes, because they have seen that the resources have completely declined. And most of the time they don't know the solution, um, or they don't have the lack of something to make sure that the solution, their solution, can be implemented. So our job is really to define that. Do they have a solution? What the national law or the bylaws are saying, and how it's feasible, and how can we help them to implement those solutions. And yes, and sometimes you have to tackle really um, really tense and harmful situation, when some because it's difficult to stop every traffic, but we have a case in Indonesia, in Tambotika. It's a marvelous place in the Sulawesi island, and they have reduced at least 75 or 80% of the threat because of the work with the community. And the community at the end are the best warden of the place. You need a special force to use the force when really you cannot do anything else.
You
Yeah,
have to
that's
use
happened.
force. That's
No,
happened.
that's happened. Yeah, it's happened, and sometimes. Last time I was there in Zanzibar, I had some interesting moment where I was saying to myself, "What I'm doing here?"
What happened?
No, but we were patrolling, and it was my first mission there. And the idea for me was to see how they were doing the patrols. In terms of security, in terms of compliance, in terms of using special tools. Um, and how they deal with the fishermen there. But the small fishermen and the small boats are okay with our team. We are about 11 on the team, and that time we had the support of the Coast Guard, but only with one AK-47. It was already okay. And then we had
Only one AK-47.
yeah, but imagine the number of bullets here inside because we had to visit as well the biggest boat with 90 fishermen on the boat doing ring net with oxygen tank in the park. So it's illegal, but there are 90 on the boat. We are 11 and we have one AK-47. Hello guys, how are you?
How did that go down?
But we managed to get close to those boats to discuss with the captain. The captain went to our boat, but it was really tense. The guys were not happy. Even if I'm not speaking the local language, I understood that the white man there is a fucking bastard.
Yeah, and he's coming in to tell me I can't do my job.
Exactly.
A lot of these people are there. They need to make money, right? That's
But yes, definitely, yes. And but I would say that level is definitely business. Is a factory, and it's ton of fish that are fishing there. So why not? Every country needs to have this kind of opportunity, but maybe not in a protected area. Or if you don't want a protected area, it's okay, and maybe not with illegal gears. You can continue to fish, no problem, but a bit further without oxygen tank.
you're just making it harder,
Yeah.
less efficient for business.
Exactly. But you understand, it's illegal. Maybe you will take care about the resources. And those boats, of course, they are supported by the big men who has the money. So they are either in the politics level or either in the high economic. Um, there are really rich people there in those countries. So it's difficult to change.
Yeah. Where have you found it hardest? So which countries are the ones that are harder to implement these
But so far, you mean on fishery aspect?
let's start with fisheries, yeah.
Because I'm quite new on the ocean. No, it's now 3 years that I'm involved
Yeah.
in project.
Yeah, before you were doing this on land.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is it easier or harder to do on land?
It's different. I would say that maybe because I'm a terrestrial species,
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable in land than in sea.
Yeah.
And in sea, it's difficult to escape a situation. You can swim, but if they have a boat, or if the fish is swimming faster than you, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then a boat is quite small, you cannot hide yourself. But in the forest, you can climb a tree.
You run into the bushes.
Exactly. So now it's completely different. And I felt also the boys. I will have more experience in few months and few years, but I felt the confrontation with the fishermen more tense than what I felt with the poacher. Obviously, I've been in tense situation in Africa on the land, for those poachers that are looking for ivories or gold miners or diamond miners and so on and so forth, or rebels. But I felt in a short time the relationship with the fishermen more tense on the sea than what I felt with the poacher on land.
What do you think is the difference?
No, I don't know. Maybe pirates mentality. Maybe.
Pirate mentality.
Yeah.
The poachers. Okay, I guess they're there for the trade of, let's say, ivory, or you were mentioning gold
Yeah. Yeah.
and other minerals. Why is that problematic? Let's say, obviously, ivory, they have to kill the animals to take the ivory. But for example, for gold mining,
But they are destroying the habitat. They have to dig, and most of the time they are looking for gold or diamond nearby rivers, and you have to dig the river. You have to pollute the water. You have to cut the trees, and you have to feed those guys who are working there. So you are going to hunt as well, and it's really damageable. Because the water can be the stream can be destroyed for decades, and more than that, I've seen countries where you have they dig holes, and people can fall in those holes. Even elephants, can fall on those holes, and it's quite dangerous.
yeah. What are some of the big projects that you've worked on land?
On conservation.
Yeah.
I would say that the last one in Guinea was really intense and big, either in terms of staffs involved, money involved. It was also one of the first project in the world on that topic, implemented. But I've been also part of other big projects, like with the German cooperation in DRC and elsewhere.
And so you're saying German cooperation? Does that mean German government?
Yeah,
Okay.
bilateral cooperation, like Portuguese, French, UK, US, Japanese, Chinese.
And what was this project in the DRC?
It was also taking care about their network of protected area. They have a mega biodiversity, as it's called there, super diverse. And there I've been involved in many different things, taking care about two protected areas in the south, in the Katanga, where you have huge mining issues on coppers, nickels, and so on. Taking care about the protected area in the South Kivu, where you have a population of gorilla remaining, but it's also one of the best quality of coltan and casseterite for our cell phone you can find. You have also a lot of issues with farmers there and so on, and it's at the border of Rwanda, so sometimes it's a bit hectic. Yes, I forgot you have a former. They are still in rebellion, but now they are partnered with the army forces of Congo against Rwanda, and M23 in North Kivu. But at that time they were rebels, so you had rebels inside. And then I was really happy to be part of the yes, I would say the support of the general direction. So it's at a political level, at Kinshasa, at the capital, like an advisor, a technical advisor, and it was really interesting to see how at the political level you can deal with conservation, and how you can manage such a big network. with a lot of different partners, a lot of different issues, security issues, and a lot of problems. Yeah.
And are the politicians interested in working with you?
Um, I would say yes, yes, because obviously, for Congo DRC, the protected areas are located in interesting areas um, at the border of the countries, on the top of a huge oil reserve, huge mining reserve. So obviously you have a lot of political interest because either the local political people are keen to open the protected area for exploitation because obviously their community needs to feed themselves and to find job, and you have at the national level maybe politician that wants to have good results on the environment and protected areas, and they see protected areas as a business, for tourism and so on. So they want to push for conservation. So yeah, you have to deal with a different level of political interest.
But you might also become a target in some of these places.
But I'm sure if you move too much, the line, and if you disturb, some very important business for someone, yes, you can be pushed out easily. Lead to some poison, and worse. But everywhere in the world, where the environmental defenders are being killed. Brazil is really famous for that, and DRC as well. Every year you have an activist or someone who will try to defend the nature that is killed.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself an activist?
I'm not sure completely because for me I never been in I'm not trusting the extreme. I think that the middle solution is the best solution, and bringing violence and bringing extreme solution um, always failed so far. Communism, Nazism, whatever, it didn't work so much. So I can say capitalism as well.
The Belgians in the Congo.
Yeah, for example. But yes, I think we come back to the discussion about humanity, but it seems that we are still young in our behaviors, and education is not our concern everywhere, and without education it is not possible to make the change happening. So I believe that we maybe we have been kept in that situation, for our boss to manage better the things. Um, I mean by that if we want really really a better world, in 1-2 generation, it might be possible. You can't, as we said before, yeah, with one minister, doing something a bit more professional, you can make some change quickly. We don't have to burn every boat, but I mean, you can do things if you really want, and education is the first things.
Education is number one.
Well, I guess so. Yes.
And how, because a lot of these areas that you're working in are very, very poor and very rural. So how do you tackle the question of education? Is internet already something that helps in these places, or what are the solutions?
Yeah, definitely. Internet helps. But the solution, at our level, when you are managing the protected area, for instance, is to help the government to build school, but not only, is also to ensure that the teachers are there. So most of the time, you had something from the government to the salary of the teacher to make sure that they will be at school and giving
The lessons.
exactly, the lessons. And but definitely, if there is no will from the government to develop that, it will be endless, because the idea is not to work. Like the work the government has to do is job. We cannot do the job for the government, so we can support the government there, but definitely it has to come from the government, or for the local government, or from the municipality. But yeah, it has to come from there, and definitely after that we can support. And when it's happening, we can develop environmental courses. We can develop courses on genders, on human rights, and so on and so forth, to make sure that they understand what is human rights, and so
Yeah, yeah.
on.
Well, I've always thought about this because human rights is something that we talk about a lot in our richer countries.
Mm-hmm.
But for people who don't have clean water, don't know what they're going to eat today, still don't have proper medical care for even the most basic of medical problems that we here don't even consider anymore. Uh, it seems just like a pipe dream conversation for them to talk about human rights. It's not something that's as for us here. We get offended if somebody doesn't consider human rights something important. For them, they're still on a much lower level.
Yes, I understand what you mean, but when we talk about human rights, is avoiding killing someone to take his fish, or avoiding to rape a woman, such things.
Yeah.
Or you don't, yeah, definitely, but. I understand poverty is something that is really an issue there, definitely, um, and and is the first things that we are trying to tackle when we manage such area to make the management sustainable. I mean that if you can bring a bit of revenues to those people, developing some new jobs through tourism, through better value change of product, better transformation of the product, new markets, new donors, new tourism activities, and so on. Then you ensure that they are taking revenue from the area, and that they are going to make it sustain. And this is the main concern, because doing police activity all the time, following the guys, bringing them to court, and so on and so forth. I've seen that, in some countries, and sometimes you do it, and you are right, because the offense is really high, but then you don't even see the consequences of bringing someone to jail in those countries. I remember a mission 2 years ago in North Congo, visiting a tribunal and the court, and they told me that it's very good, you guys enforcing the law in the protected area there. You're bringing us a lot of poachers, a lot of people that are doing bad offenses, but some of the people you are bringing here, and are staying in jail there, they are dying because no food. Because, for instance, the pygmies, put the pygmies in jail. They have always been in the nature, free, and who from his family is going to feed him in jail, So it's a real concern also. That's why, using force can be a solution, but never solve the problem completely, because you will have consequences there. You will have an answer, because it's always a game. You do things, you get an answer. You do things, you get an answer back. And for instance, you can harm more sometimes by enforcing the law.
Yeah. Yeah, force is always a very temporary solution to only an extreme situation where there isn't anything else that can be done, I suppose.
What can we say about Gaza? Temporary solution? Yes.
Very temporary.
30 years that I've seen this as a temporary solution going on.
Yeah. And for a lot of the poorest part of Africa, it's the same thing. The violence has been since before I was born, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot longer than that, that's all they know.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's education, because when you start having the capacity to be informed and to find information and to structure your thoughts and to write a project and to define a business plan and so on and so forth, you may start looking the opportunity differently. And also, for some governments, I guess, or for some multinational today, having countries in the mess is the best way to make sure that you can take everything without any discussion,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's also something that you have to fight, is that you're trying to work with the local people and the local government, but then you have foreign interests, multinational corporations coming in, and governments who prefer the destabilization of the area so that they can take advantage of whatever it is that they want from that place. That just adds another extra layer of difficulty to what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
And those people are ruthless.
Yes, and they can find you here in your base, in your home. They have access to whatever they want. They can use Pegasus software for your cell phone and so on. They have money.
Yeah.
Sometimes those companies, they have more money than states. But it's possible. When I was in Guinea, in the national park we were creating there, we had a huge Chinese company wanted to develop with the president, the president at that time that I've been chased, wanted to develop a huge dam in the middle of the park, And I've seen that how with communication, newspapers, now this network, you can really tackle reputation about this kind of investment, and crazy investment actually, because found the feasibility was more or less okay. We are not sure about if the construction will last, because the soil were not such strong enough, and the power that will be produced won't be enough to help the country to have a great progress in terms of electricity access or power access, But beside that, we were sure that they would have destroyed a lot of piece of forest, with a lot of village, with a lot of biodiversity, and by helping those who but giving information, key information, which are free information about the number of trees, chimpanzee population, whatever. To those journalists and to those people who were interested about that cause. we were able to stop the project. Well, it's still there in the papers, but it hasn't been financed by the huge bank, to make the project concrete. So I think that it can be a really powerful weapon. Communication, observation, witness.
Yeah.
Um,
We need to start some more podcasts in Africa.
yeah. But now in Africa you have a lot of. In Central Africa, I'm really quite surprised how you have some really courageous journalists now at the moment that are raising, a lot of cases of corruption, of. Um, I would say that there is a case in Cameroon now in Douala of one of the most rich son of Sanana.
The rich son of someone from that country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not an insult. He's son of, and his father is really rich, so he just have been rich because of his father.
Yeah.
And this guy was a sexual predator for years in the city.
The father or the son?
The son.
Okay.
And now the information just pop up from the on internet, from a bit everywhere, from newspaper and so on, and the guy is in jail.
Really?
Yeah. And so things happen. But another Cameroonian journalist 2 years ago or last year, because he was really talking on the radio about some strange corruption things at the high level of the government in Cameroon, have been completely killed, but badly.
Tortured first.
Yeah. But now the people that might have asked for that are also in jail.
Okay. So
but
Cameroon is making some positive strides.
I don't know. I won't say so.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a country that I've been always interesting, but it's a country that is difficult to understand, because you have the president is there since 36 years now.
36 years.
Something like that.
Very democratic of him.
Yeah, he's about 84 or 85. He's living half of his time in Geneva.
He lives in Geneva. He doesn't
Yeah.
live in the country where he's president.
No. But the country is running more or less, but he's running.
Okay.
And, he's one of the most economical, dynamic country in Central Africa. Also because you have Nigeria beside. But I really liked being there, and the Cameroon people are really nice. They are tough, but they're really nice.
They're tough.
Yeah. In the southern part, you're always when they speak at you, you always think that they are shouting at you, but they just speak.
It's just their culture, the way they
Yeah.
talk.
In the west, they have a physique. They are just big, massive. Really big people.
Yeah. The former UFC fighter Francis Ngannou, I think he's Cameroonian.
Yeah, he's Cameroon.
Yeah, and he's
definitely.
a big guy.
You see that?
Yeah, he says it often, like that he wants to establish a league now where to bring more African fighters, because he says, if you think I'm bad, you haven't seen some of the monsters from back home. Like there's some seriously big guys out there, and they're tough. Tough.
In Senegal also, you have tough guys. No, definitely in Africa, sometimes you see monsters. What have you eaten to be big like that? Tell me.
Yeah.
I'm only 70 kilos. Did I miss something?
Yeah. In the Western world, we have all of the science, and we have modern gyms and medicine and food and steroids.
Yeah, but
And
you know what Francis did to start having this musculature. He was digging sand.
yeah.
And definitely those guys. In Africa, you have 75 or 80% of the population that have less than 25 years old.
Yeah.
And they are tough, and we are, I don't know, lazy. We
Yeah.
like games, yes.
Yeah. Computer games
Yeah,
and
beach.
going out at night to drink and
Exactly.
yeah,
It's another word.
it's a different kind of life for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which are the countries where you see better progress in Africa? Let's say.
Wow, wow. In terms of what? Economy, human rights, peace.
In being able to turn around the situation.
Because you have countries that are moving fast and good. Like Ghana is a good example. You have Cabo Verde is a very good example.
What are they doing in Cape Verde?
But it's a bit kind of uh, it's not really Africa. I would say that the mainland is but they have a really dynamic country, less corruption.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Is what I've heard from the AU Commission.
Okay.
They have a GDP, one of the most higher in Africa. Yes, for those cooperation, bilateral or multilateral cooperation, Cabo Verde is a good example.
Okay.
You have the country in the southern part also are moving fast. Huh? South Africa not so much. Also because of corruption.
Yeah.
And too much power in the same hands for decades now. Maybe lack of democracy as well. But Namibia, I think is. But I think I've heard that they had economical trouble so far. But I would say that countries like Gabon or Congo Brazza can really do well, and yeah, they have a huge potential to become really leaders on what they are doing there. Um, in the eastern part, Tanzania is not bad. Huh? Kenya is not bad as well. Um, well, yeah, it's a bit sad that Ethiopia went to those war, that they have been involved the past years, but it's also a huge political issues that goes until Egypt because of this huge Renaissance dam they are building on the Nile. All the countries, all the Nile countries are a bit upset on Ethiopia, so they may have had some issues also because of that. Nevertheless, yes, you have countries that are moving quite good, huh? And I'm super positive. I would say for Africa, because Africa is young, and you have a lot of resources. They have at the moment the influence of the entire world there, so they can choose.
Yeah. But is that always a good thing? I feel like a lot of that influence also comes with some interests behind it.
Of course, obviously, and you have people that are interested to support those interests more than the others. Maybe they prefer to have a quick results and to eat quickly what they have at the moment because they don't know if they are going to stay longer.
Yeah.
But it's short term. In the long term process, I would say that yes, all those network, internet, and so on also have brought a common idea that we can have a better world. And we can do it better. When I discuss with the people at the village, at the local level, yes, definitely they want a better life, and obviously they would prefer to have a better life in their village. So yes.
It's good to hear that you're positive on Africa. Like that's a refreshing take. Like
yeah. But maybe because we like in Europe to see Africa like not doing well.
Yeah.
It's also for us. Also, maybe it's also feeding our also self-esteem in bringing all this support, all this money, and saying, "Oh, we are supporting you guys." Well, yes, I don't know what spirit is behind that, but maybe colony is from colonization time. But no, no, yes, I would say that I'm confident, definitely, because they have the numbers, they have the resources, they have the strength.
With the demographic collapse that's forecasted for most of the more developed world, they seem to definitely have the youth. At least the number of people in there is going to be better than everywhere else. We're
Yeah.
going to be a lot of old people needing pensions and medicine.
Exactly.
They don't have many pensions there.
No.
Yeah,
No.
the continent of this century will be Africa.
I guess so, yeah. And but I would say that this is the century of Africa, or it won't be, because with all these assets, um, they can make the things different. But also, it will depend of the will of those people who has the power to make the things differently. Um,
Is it moving closer towards a process of democratization for most of these countries as well, or is it still because, like you were saying, the president was it president of Cameroon who lives in Geneva and has been president for 36 years?
yeah,
That
and
doesn't sound very democratic.
You still have some country like that, but is no more the majority.
Okay.
And it's a few of them. But I would have said yes to that question some 1, 2, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But since maybe the war in Ukraine or just before, especially in West Africa, but also elsewhere, you had a kind of turn of the the democracy will in Africa. I mean that we had several countries who use coup. Now those countries are trying to to be separate of their neighbors countries, in terms of collaboration, relation, and so on. Some presidents stole election. Some president stopped the process of the election. So let's see how it's going to be, because Africa is linked to the entire world, and now today the game are a bit complex, and it's difficult where the real power is, and you have a lot of pressure coming from different sides. So for what is really nice, I think, for Africa, and I see that as an opportunity, they are in the middle of the game. Every country is there to whatever resources, and they can really choose what they want. And they have already chosen to be not really for the West and not really for the East. So it will be an interesting century.
Yeah, you have the example of that I know of Angola, where you have one of the richest countries in terms of natural resources, but also one of the worst in terms of wealth distribution. You have very clearly an elite who control everything, and then the large majority of the people who have absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. And it's a bit the case everywhere in the world. The rich are getting richer, more opportunity, and the poor are going poorest. But Angola is a great example. It's definitely that the money have been kept for decades on the same hands. So yeah, unfortunately, because it must be a beautiful country. I've never been there,
Yeah.
and I would love to visit the eastern part, because I know that there, because of the war, the natural resources have been able to regenerate
Mm-hmm.
somehow so far, because it have been heavily mined, and I know that it was the wildlife that have demined a lot there. Um, but yes, it's you still have a lot of wildlife, and the nature is really interesting, like in the south, nearby Namibia. But definitely yes, pity situation for the population, because they can live better.
Yeah.
And it's just a question of sharing. We know that the natural resources are limited. The same with the money. So why not sharing a bit more?
Sharing is caring, but not everybody agrees.
No. It should be like that with the taxes.
Yeah.
But when we see how it works with that, and what we are doing with that things, it's difficult to agree
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Getting more and more taxes, and you have less support. Don't understand.
Corruption.
Well, maybe. What's happened for our last government?
What, here in Portugal?
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting situation developing here as well.
Exactly.
It definitely seems like the age of cooperation is getting less and less.
It's a bit tricky. The situation in the globe today. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like we are changing um, our values, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or we are getting in a trouble moment, like some vibration.
Yeah.
Let's see how it's going to be. It's interesting because most of the time, after chaos, you have a new reborn. You have some regeneration of the things, because life is stronger than everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is growing, even if the humanity is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Um, let's see.
How much of a threat in all of these things that you've been talking about already is climate change? How much do you see that impacting life already?
Oh yes, I see that already. In terms of internal migration of. Just basically in my village where I'm born, now since 3 summers we don't have any more water,
Mm-hmm.
even for the population,
Where is this?
in South France,
Yeah.
in Catalonia part,
Mm-hmm.
and some village last summer didn't have water on the tap,
Yeah.
but it's true. It's also a political issues because the agriculture
Yeah.
have the water.
Yeah.
And they are very powerful. We just see that now in France. They have strike for some weeks, and now, okay.
Yeah. What was your take on the farmer strike throughout Europe now?
I almost lost my flight at Toulouse, but I, it's true that it's like we were saying for Angola. Maybe I don't know exactly the numbers, but I would say that I would less than 5% of the farmers receive maybe 80% of the money from the pack,
Mm-hmm.
because of the size of their land. I'm not sure it's true, but I've heard that the first beneficiary of the PAC politic in Europe before the Brexit was the family of the Queen,
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many lands in for agriculture. So all those small agricultors that want just to live normally, having enough money to raise their child, to be happy, to have holidays, to hire people, they don't, they are not support. And it's also the way we are looking the way we want to grow the food. If we want an industrial farming system, or we want to put more support on the familial system, on the local system, where you grow enough to feed yourself, and then you are not looking for business to sell your cereal, I don't know, in Africa or in South America. So it's all the time is linked to the your vision, what you want to implement, and today is for sure that those big companies want to continue having those business running out. Is also for the country the possibility to put pressure on other country, because if you don't agree with me, you are not going to receive my maize or my wheat or my rice or whatever. So you agree with me? You want your people feeding? Because if they are not making some bread, they are going to kick you out. And it happened, in Sudan. The dictator was kicked out because of the bread issue, bread price.
Really?
Yeah, and it's happened in many countries during the history. And remember, was at the beginning of the Ukraine war, African countries couldn't, having the wheat from Russia and Ukraine, and they haven't sent, a delegation to Russia to ask Putin to be more flexible, because they knew that if their population couldn't have such cereal, it will be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you starve, you go to strike, you may go to jihadis, you may go to rebellion, you may go to, just because of bread.
Yeah. This is something that I wasn't aware of, at least to the extent to which you've told me since I've known you. The jihadist movement throughout Western and Central Africa being very strong. Eastern Africa I was aware, but that they're reaching all throughout Africa, and it's gaining momentum, right?
Well, I would say yes. You have some jihadist issues, in North Mozambique, where the Mozambican army have help from Rwanda and I don't remember French, I think too. I don't remember who else. Trying to kick them out. So in Mozambique, is South Africa country. You have jihadism in Kenya, North Kenya. Even in the island where I am now, a lot of young people went to Syria during the war with Daesh. I know that you may have some in Central Africa Republic. For sure, you have some in East DRC. So yes.
What makes it interesting? Why do they go?
It's really trivial, most of the time. They are looking for resources, control resources. They are they are scaring the people around, so they kill, they bloodshed, they bring terror, and they want to secure lands, by terror.
But what attracts the youth of these countries to join such movements? The same thing.
Yes, I would say that the lack of opportunity, normal opportunity. They at the moment they are getting so frustrated, and they have access to Facebook, they have TikTok, and so on. So they see how it's going on elsewhere, and they feel that it's not just. So maybe they can do something, to change the situation, and that's why those guys are really strong, because they can wash the brain and saying, no, come with me, we are going to be good at you, and they might be good as well, they can help them during the time and so on, but in compensation you have to fight with me, and also I'm supporting you. Yeah, it's not just, and in this situation where you have nothing, I would have maybe done the same. But for sure, if I was in an injustice situation with no opportunity, being 20, 25, having the power to try to change something and to loot for what I want to do, of course not for jihadism, but maybe for rebellion, you know, I would have tried to do something.
Yeah. You told me once. I remember that it's funny if you look on the maps that you see that the rebellions are also centered around the minerals.
Yeah. It was the case during yeah. It's actually the case in Congo, and it has been the case in Congo for decades. Um, and some of those rebellions were also supported by big business industry to take care about those resources, because they then wanted to supply them for whatever product they had to sell in the international market. And yeah, it was a game between some part of the army, some part of the rebellion, some part of external actors dealing all together. And at the end, it was always the population that have suffered about that game, you know. And it's really sad. Today, we are talking about the colonization of Belgium in Congo, and the Belgian government have already agreed that they have been involved of the killing of about 10 million of the Congolese. So maybe half the population or one third of the population at that time. But today, since the war in Congo have started for all this mind of this modernity revolution, we are already at 10 million. Huh? So
It is.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So what is the worst now? And we are not blaming ourselves to have a cell phone and to enjoy WhatsApp and being able to look to our whatever apps we have on our phone. We are part of it.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, not all the minerals that we are using today are coming from Congo, but is one of the country in the world that are providing most of the mineral for those smartphones, cell phones, whatever touchpad, and so on and so forth.
Is there a sustainable way of doing that, or do we need to stop using our cell phones?
No. You have brands that are trying to comply. They have put kind of traceability for the materials coming from mines that are doing good job, good
Ethical.
mining.
Yeah.
In brackets, because
But it's always in brackets.
yeah, but nothing is perfect, but at least they have a paper saying that they are doing good.
Oh, they have a paper.
Yeah.
That's so much better.
Yeah. And imagine who wants to do the evaluation of that man in the middle of the war in Congo. Hello, I'm the evaluator. No, obviously they have also other techniques and so on, but I remember when we were living there at that time, we have bought a Fairphone. It's a brand from Netherlands that are trying to have this kind of traceability and this compliance of such standards. And more is coming through that. And definitely, I'm sure that consumer have the power to change the way we are producing the things, you know. If we decided today to stop buying, you know, such products because we know that it's very harmful, and we are doing that every day, we may change the things of the way we produce them as well.
We're buying more and more instead of less.
Exactly. And more plastic, and when you see the plastic also in the ocean, it's getting definitely an issue.
Yeah.
Not even in the ocean. You have it in every plastic bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are killing ourselves.
Yeah. And when we're trying to help these poorer countries, what is the example that we're giving them? Because we're not we're just outsourcing our shit to them and then
Yeah.
telling them they need to do better.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the pollution. You know, we
Yeah.
okay, now we're going to drive electric cars, but
Mm.
where did the batteries come from? Where is the electricity produced? What do we use to produce the electricity?
Exactly.
Who's being exploited so that we can look better?
How we are going to regenerate those battery, or to clean them, or to where is the garbage of those battery when they are going to be to end? This
Yeah.
is a huge question.
In a big fire pit in Africa.
Maybe. And you have a place like this in the lagoon of Accra in Ghana, in the capital city, where you have a lot of our ex-computer, ex-cell phone, else whatever, all the electronic stuff are going there, and they are basically burning the things without proper equipment, nothing in the middle of the city to recover some of the materials there. And it's happening everywhere, clothes in the middle of the Atacama desert, all our clothes are there, and so on and so forth. So yes, definitely it's an issue, and I'm not sure that we even just thinking how we can change it, concretely, because even if in Portugal, I can see in my street, you still have a garbage where you can put everything how you want without any proper selection and so on, without any problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, it always comes down to economics, right? It's cheaper to not recycle, and so you don't have. I think they were saying even if you do use a recycling, at least here, that most of it just gets filtered back, all joined back together again at the station, because there aren't enough facilities and people dealing with recycling to be able to handle the amount. And this is when most of the people aren't recycling. So if everybody did, it would still fall back on the industry not being able to handle that amount and know what to do with it, because it's much cheaper to produce a new plastic bottle than it is to recycle this one and make another one out of it or make something else. I remember I was watching, there's I don't remember the name of the guy. He's doing the ocean cleanup project in the Pacific. And he was talking about the challenge of the boats using so much fuel just to get to the places to capture the trash that it became environmentally unviable to even do it. So he was trying to figure out how he could maybe create a recycling plant that stayed on the water out in the middle of the ocean, or what even he could do with the recycled materials to produce something of interest that would help. So it's not like it's an easy solution.
No, definitely not. And we have to think about all that. Sometimes, as we said just before, you want to do good, but you harm more at the end. And these electric cars, I'm not sure that is the best solution. But let's see how we are going to deal with our garbage in the future. I definitely agree with you. When it will become more economical, more rentable to look after our garbage than to continue mining or digging, everywhere in the world, we are going to recycle more, definitely. But before that, we have plastic everywhere, and we have everything on the beach, and our everything of every organism today have some microplastic, and it's really alarming. It's really how we are going to deal with that, in the future.
Maybe that's what'll kill us.
Yes, it's possible, definitely, and they have already seen that. I think it was for frog that with this microplastic, they were not able to, the male were not able to grow normally, so they were not fertile. So that means that you have a feminization of the organism. So if you don't have any male, you are not going to reproduce your species, and then your species is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Only the plastic species are going to be able to survive. The
Yeah.
species that can tolerate plastic and thrive off of it.
Exactly.
Like I read that there was some sort of mushroom now that they discovered that eats plastic, or
Yes.
a mushroom or fungus.
It's possible. Huh?
Maybe that'll cover the planet, and they'll be the next intelligent species.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And but the biggest organisms, I would say that like that in the world is a mushroom. You know.
Yeah.
It's incredible. This brain, those animals are completely incredible.
Therius, what is this? Typically found in soil and plants. Aspergillus, Therius, and Angiodontium album were able to break down polypropylene after it had been pre-treated with either UV light or heat, reducing the plastic by 21% over 30 days of incubation, and by 27% over 90 days. Well, nature adapts.
Yeah.
Nature starts to find a way.
Yeah. But definitely, the plastic, where is coming from? You know, plastic is coming from oil at the beginning.
Yeah.
And oil is coming from the degradation of the carbons and all the materials that have been on Earth centuries ago. So all is finally nature at the end, you know.
Yeah.
But I trust this kind of solution, like the phytoremediation we are using a lot to depollute soil after mining exploitation.
What is that?
So you use special plant that can swallow the pollution from the soil.
Okay.
And then after that, obviously the issues is what you're doing with the plant after.
Feed it to politicians. Make a vegetable soup for them.
And most of the solution today is just to burn them. But you bring back the materials.
The pollution just goes back into the environment if you burn it.
But at the end, at least your soil is depolluted.
Yeah.
And you can grow crops or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But if it has to remain a forest, don't care, you just leave the forest there.
Yeah.
You see Chernobyl. Chernobyl today is one of the biggest protected area in Europe, you know. And the nature have grown incredibly there. It's amazing. A lot of wildlife, a huge forest.
Yeah, so as scared as humans are about nuclear war, nature would probably appreciate it.
You remember during the COVID?
Yeah.
The lockdown was super cool for nature.
Yeah. And it was crazy how quickly some of these ecosystems recovered and came back, and things that hadn't been seen before, and migratory patterns of birds that hadn't been used in recorded history all of a sudden came back. It was so fast that nature recovered. It's incredible.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Well, there is the globalist argument of depopulating the earth would be good.
At least if 1 month a year, you know, the entire world stop.
Yeah.
In Indonesia, they have one in Bali. They have a special feast like that. During one day, nobody move out his house.
Okay.
You know, it's also linked to the spirit and so on. But if during 1 month we stop, we close everything, and we organize it, you know, I mean, it's easy to organize. Now we have the reference.
Yeah.
Everybody stop.
Yeah. How likely do you think that is going to happen?
I may start my political career with that idea.
Yeah, I think you might have some followers. For 1 whole month, you do nothing.
Stay at home.
Yeah, well, stay at home, but don't turn the TV on. No internet, no electricity, no running water. Everything is off.
Yeah, I agree. Those people who don't have garden, it would be difficult.
It'd be very difficult, yeah.
Yeah.
And the supply chains kind of handling the amount of food. Like, I don't have enough food at home to last me a month. And I've seen from the self-sustainability projects of people who want to live on a farm by themselves and live off the grid. Like, it's very, very difficult.
Wow. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
You have to deal, and it has been the case. You know, even when we were at the Neolithic, we had to trade with our neighbors to exchange. You have chicken, I have salad.
Yeah.
Let's exchange.
Yeah, and just just from growing your own food, like the amount of vegetables and produce that you need to make to be able to sustain one human being it's a full-time job year round.
Yeah,
And even
especially
then,
no, especially depend if you are looking for feeding an American guy or
well, Francis Ngannou isn't small. He needs a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of meat.
A lot of meat.
Yeah, that's true.
I like meat.
Yeah, time to time, yeah, I don't have any trouble with that.
Yeah.
I'm basically I'm eating everything. I'm human, and we are omnivore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely, I know what starvation mean, and I know what lacking food mean. In the middle of nothing,
Yeah.
when you have to take some meat from the bush, you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it is a protected area.
You mean you become the poacher?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, when
agree.
it means death, then
Yeah, if you have nothing to eat,
yeah.
especially when because you can bring some food at the beginning with you, but if you are there for weeks, months, at the moment you don't have supply chain. At the moment, you have to enjoy the forest
Yeah.
as a pygmy. But it's
Yeah.
really healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
healthiest diet, right?
Yeah. But if you are sick, you die. If you're not recovering, there is no doctor. I'm sorry.
But they have their witch doctors and their bush
yeah.
medicine.
No, that works. That
Yeah.
works. I've learned a lot about some plants with them.
Yeah.
And actually, last time in Zanzibar, I have treated myself with some stomach disease.
Mm-hmm.
I may have been, but it was a tricky situation. But let's see. I've treated myself with a plant I know from Ivory Coast, but
Okay.
actually, it's not coming from Africa. It's coming from India, but it have been planted in Africa really everywhere. And it's a really, really nice tree. You can use it for every stomach issues, bacterial issues, hemorrhoid,
Okay.
against malaria. If you have some eczemas on your skin, even against the pest for the agriculture, you can use the seeds.
It's a tree?
It's a tree.
What tree is it? What's it called?
It's called neem tree.
Neem?
Neem, yeah.
Okay.
NEEM, or Azadirachta indica with a Z. And this is really powerful. So I treat myself there with that.
What did you have? Stomach issues, you were saying?
I'm not sure because I went patrolling once by myself by night. It was full moon, so easy to walk.
Yeah.
It's what I thought. I was in a place where I found a nice dog, a Malinois.
Okay.
Black, really black. It's the first time I've seen a dog like that, like a wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and really friendly, really nice guy. And I decided to patrol myself. And so, not at the beginning, I thought that I won't go far, but at the end, it took me 3 hours in the middle of the place there. And it seems that they have a lot of witch there. So
A lot of?
witch.
Witch?
Yeah, witchcraft.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know, I disturbed them a bit, I don't know, but it was the 30th of December, and the 31, we were with some Congolese friends that came to visit me there, and a couple that is working there, having for New Eve a small party all together, and then we decided to go to the beach, and at that moment we all collapsed. It was really strange, and we were all being separated.
Okay.
We don't know how it came, and I found myself, in troubles with people dragging myself on my back, avoiding me coming back to my bedroom during hours. And the next, I fall everywhere and so on. And the next morning, I was scratched and injured everywhere, So it was really strange. The other had the same issues, and from that, I started having stomach issues. So we may have eaten or drink something that was not good. Poison? I don't know.
But you think somebody put it in on purpose?
But it was so weird because everything was okay, and at the moment we all collapsed. And only one of the women that was with us, the girlfriend of my Congolese friends, who didn't eat because she was a bit sick and even touched water, she remained okay. All the other we were completely. And what it was really strange is the sensation I had. I was on the from the beach to my bedroom. It was about I would say less than a kilometer, but maybe 800 meters. And I had to pass nearby between two hotels, but it's a quite large bush on the small path, you know. And I've been at that moment. I had the sensation to be always dragged by something, someone, trying to push me, you know, and avoiding me to go to move forward, to go back in my bedroom, you know.
Okay.
And it was a really strange sensation. Really strange sensation.
And you think it was because of the witchcraft?
I don't know. But the next day I discussed with the owner of the place.
Yeah.
And actually the owner is also really interesting. It's a small hotel, you know, but a rural one. It is from the local. And so he owned this black dog, really black. That type of dog I never seen elsewhere in Africa. And he is also helping albinos guy. And in Tanzania, albinos are heavily killed by the witchcraft because they are using bones and whatever because they think that because they are albinos they have some property. And so he's taking care of him there. So already he has, and he is the only guy in this area at the bottom north of the island who has this small facility. He has a kind of power that I don't really understand, but he's well connected. He has a lot of things, you know. And I don't know what's happened, but definitely I put my feet on whatever ants. Nets. And yeah, something went wrong. I don't know what exactly. But then I treated myself with that. It took me 1 week, and also for the other, not for my Congolese friend, but the other guy that was with me also. It took him 1 week to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why all together we discussed about the situation, and we all found out that it might be something strange around. And yeah, and the albinos that is working for this facility had some of the same issues 1 year ago on the same place. So don't know. Don't know.
Weird.
Completely. No, it was it was for the New Eve, the 31 of December. You know.
Yeah.
So I woke up the 1st January, fully in my bedroom. I remember that I put a lot of will in my head to move forward, to don't stop moving forward. But I look after my body. It was completely scratched. I have some picture I can show you after.
Yeah.
Completely scratched. I say, what's happened?
African hangover.
Strange one.
Witchcraft, is there a lot of it?
Yeah. This is what I found out finally because after that story, I started discussing a lot with the people around.
Yeah.
And even my Congolese friend is from the eastern part of Congo, so he speaks Swahili, and they were able to dig out a bit because he was also wondering, and in East Congo also you have a lot of ones, so he was wondering what happened to us,
Yeah.
And yeah, we found that there are many in that area, especially in that area, and yes, so I don't know if it is directly linked or not, but it was a weird night.
What do you think you did that they didn't like, or what?
Walking like that alone with that dog,
Just going into the area that they don't want you to be in,
Yes.
and they don't like the dog.
Maybe not.
So you won't be walking the dog anymore.
But I like that dog, and you know what's also bring that idea of which in the table with the local communities, because when I did that walk with the dog, we arrived in a village, and at the moment, my thought was not to go too far. We have a lighthouse nearby. The place is about 1.5 kilometers, so it's 3 kilometers go and back. And then something happened, and I lost my track. And
You lost what?
my track.
Okay.
I had the GPS. I know how to use the GPS,
Yeah.
but completely I lost the track. And I arrived in a small village where, after a while, but before entering the village, I just remark a special crop site where they are growing lemon. And I've already noticed that crop before, and I knew that it was far from the place I should be. But I knew that on my way north, this lemon trees should be on my right side, and now they are on my left side. So I start to understand that I was completely on the wrong side. I was trying to go out of the place.
Yeah.
Then I was wondering if what's happened. And so I did some movement forward to see where I was, and I entered this village. And after a couple of meters, I decided to go back. And at that moment, I guess a wild dog, I don't know, something arrived and jump on the dog I was with. And mine is Malinois is quite big.
Yeah.
And first of all, he didn't smell the dog.
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
Didn't realize it was there.
No, and then I saw that like it was like an arrow, coming directly to the dog. And at that moment, I had a stick, and I took from the place where I was a steel stick, which you never know.
A what?
Some steel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a stick, but big, heavy.
Yeah, a metal stick.
A metal stick.
Yeah.
A proper weapon. You never know. You're walking by night. You never know. And I tried to smash it, and then they move away, and then my dog came back a bit later. I don't know what's happened after. But when I discuss about the people I was living there, they found strange that my dog didn't react. Because he's a big dog. Is a dog that's supposed to do the security, so he's supposed to smell the other dog before, and it was on the way back. So what happened?
Yeah.
Nothing.
But was it another dog that attacked it, or?
I don't know. It was too. I guess so. I would say so.
Yeah.
But I don't know what attacked at that time.
And your dog, was it hurt?
No, not at all.
No.
No.
Okay.
He just fly away and leave me with the dog.
He ran away.
Yeah.
And left you alone.
Yeah. Really a fool.
Great security.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But it was two strange nights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you had other strange experiences with witchcraft?
Not directly like that, but being in contact or nearby, yes, I would say so. I remember in Cameroon being in a village where you have this secret society entering the village, and actually they announced them with a special sounds. Obviously, I didn't hear nothing because I don't know the sounds. But the people around ask us to hide ourselves because they have to cross the village and nobody has to see them. I've been also, yes, in a strange ceremony, not strange, but which ceremony I would say with the pygmies, because of a situation in the forest where we had to clean a bit our mind and spirit. Um, yeah, it's the two things I have in mind there. But I don't want to be too close of that things.
You believe in their power.
But I have to confess that if you think that since the humanity is humanity, you may have more people who has died than people who are alive.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that our spirit is gone when our body is gone, because our body is just carbon and the tissues and so on. But our spirit, with all the love, all the pain, all the whatever you got in your life, you may be. It's not possible that it's ending like that, you know. So if you have all that spirit around, and you know how to deal with them, and you understand the nature, and you know how to use the power of the nature. Yeah, you can become maybe powerful. Poison, I know that definitely it's used, and I know some as well. But for the rest, you see.
You see that? The glove fell off the shelf behind me.
That's a signal. Definitely, yes. It's like that night when I was walking, we enter the lighthouse. You should have the army there. You should. There is a huge fence around. They have you have the structure of the fence, but there is no metal fence, so you enter and you get out as easy it is. And the night was really quiet, just before I entered that fence. Just the moment I passed the fence, and you are around the lighthouse, you have a small forest, pocket of forest, Just the moment I passed the fence, you have the bush babies. The bush babies, it's like a small lemur. It's not Lemurian, but it's like small monkeys, and they are living by night, And in Central Africa, they don't like those animals because it's linked to witch, to the devil, to something like that, And at the moment I enter the fence, those bush babies that were in the forest start crying. Enfin, start speaking, It was really weird,
Okay.
And it's like, oh, someone is coming. And when I arrived there in the lighthouse, it was maybe midnight, something like that. Full moon. It was the day after. No, the day after full moon. Um, every military was sleeping. No one was there. I was alone, completely alone. And then the mess started from there.
What started?
By the mess, I lost my track from there. And it had brought me far down south until that dog and that lemon crops, I said,
Have you met a witch?
Maybe.
Oh, they don't tell you.
I know.
No. Is it something like you were mentioning the secret society before?
Yeah.
Are they witches or involved in witchcraft?
Yeah.
And they are people who live in amongst the community, or do they live in the bush? Or
no, they are among the community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the locals, do they know who the witches are? Sometimes.
Yeah, I would say yes.
But is it like a religion that people can become a part of, or is it something that you're born into through your family? Or
depend. I would say that it's something that can be passed through the family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how it works, I'm not sure. But I would say so. Yeah, it's something that is passed through family.
But they're very secretive about it.
Yeah, completely. Imagine we have burn hours, so you don't want the people burn you.
Yeah, there was a lot of witch burning back then.
Yeah. And after that, people are also using witch, to harm others. For instance, I have some story like that in Congo, where you have a child, you have a family, and the mother die or the parents divorce, and the child most of the time stay with the father because he earned the money. And you have another woman coming, looking for the child as well. And what they can do sometimes is saying to the community that, oh, the first child of my husband is a witch, he's doing that, he's doing that, and he's doing that. Then the child will be put in the street, and they will be chased out of of his family. Then for the mother, she knows that the father is going to take care of her child, not the child of the first mother.
This
And
happens a lot.
this happened, yeah. And yes, a lot of people are chasing from their village or their family because someone are saying that you are a witch, because you have during the night you have eaten the spirit of that child, and that child died there because a bad witch have eaten his spirit to grow. And maybe if you earn a lot of money one day, the next day someone is saying that you are a witch, you have made sacrifice, and
You made a deal with the devil.
you got your money like that. I'm telling you, lack of education. It's all the time the same problem. When you grow that such things uh, obviously can happen, but are not common.
Yeah.
It's not normal everywhere, every moment, and so on. And maybe you're still dealing with your neighbor differently.
But whose lack of education? Ours, because we don't understand the magic of the witches.
This is not this is not the education that we lack from a lot of time, because we are is thinking that we are not part of the environment and the nature anymore.
Yeah.
We think that we are different species. We are not a species. We are human. We
Yeah.
are different.
Yeah. But we're just a part of nature as well.
Yeah, we're just a fucking primate.
Yeah.
That's it. The same.
A very evolved primate.
Yeah, and when I was working with the chimpanzee, I was amazed to recognize a lot of our behavior, social behavior, through them,
Mm-hmm.
jealousy, power, submission, whatever. It's really interesting.
They are sort of our cousins, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's 80% of our genome is the same,
Mm-hmm.
even more.
Is there an effort to learn more, because a lot of these places have a lot better contact with nature and practices that weren't that were empirical studies, let's say. Is there an effort to try and regain some of that knowledge or to understand what it is that they do?
Yeah, definitely. You have a lot of studies going on about that, but specifically in our work, protecting some areas, we definitely want to enhance such practice, because when you have a sacred forest, when you have a sacred lake, when you have whatever linked to these cultural, historical behaviors, definitely it helps to protect those areas far better than putting them they are rangers, because the population knows that they don't have to cut there, and they are scared to do it. Even the youngs, I was amazed to see that even the youngs are really respecting most of the time. Of course, you still have some rebels time to time. Also, people coming from elsewhere that,
Yeah.
that doesn't know that is such specific area. But those people who are living there are really concerned to take care about that.
The sacred area of the forest,
Yeah, yeah.
but sacred for their religion or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
they're scared of the spirits or
Yeah, everything.
everything.
Yeah. Most of the time, I'm thinking about Guinea, for instance, at the moment, and you have such pocket of forest. Is where when they create the village, they have, for example, chased the devil there, or they have killed the monster that was in this area, in this forest, and the spirit of this entity remain there. And what is really interesting is where they have located such area. For those I've seen, you find most of the time really interesting species. I mean, poison species, really. There's such species that can really, be used or be harmful for our well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely there is a link, and it reminds me a place in Bielowice forest at the border of Belarus and Poland. It's one of the biggest primary forests remaining in Europe. You had a special place where the Nazis have killed more than 20,000 Polonian soldiers there, and the trees are completely deformed. They have they have kept this atrocity in the way they have growing. It's really impressive, and you can feel this area is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So such energy are there. If you are, I believe, if you are sensitive enough, um, maybe it's the instinct. You can feel such energy around.
But if you went into one of these areas without knowing the history, without the locals telling you anything, you would feel something?
It's possible, and definitely, yeah.
Does that happen to you when you're going in the middle of the bush, that sometimes you're in an area and you feel, okay, this area isn't good?
Yeah, that's happened to me. Yeah, definitely, yes.
And what you do? Move quickly, get out.
I have one in mind. It was we arrived in that place by night.
Where?
It was in Central Africa,
Yeah.
doing a patrol in the middle of the forest, and we arrived in that place by night, and we couldn't move more. And yes, definitely, no one slept during the night. It was really strange night with special animal in the forest that you don't want to hear. They are in those countries in Central Africa. They link this daman. It's a small rodent linked to the elephant actually. Those who are living in the rocks. To something bad spirit, devil, or whatever, and there were there a lot, and those little lemurs also, the bush babies, the galagos, the poto, they are weird, big eyes like this, looking. They are walking by night. So obviously it's like the snake, You're scared of them because their shape and their behavior are a bit weird.
Yeah. But they do. Do they do anything to you?
No,
No.
nothing.
Just look.
Yeah. But it's a bit like the owl, in Europe, where if you see an owl, or a black cat crossing the road, it's a bad signal. Okay. There is the same.
Yeah.
But definitely, it's not coming from nowhere. Uh, for the black cat, I'm not sure, but for those animals, from the community who are living in the forest for centuries, when they told you that this is not good, when you hear that one time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times for different people, you start thinking that maybe it's not good.
Maybe you should listen.
Yeah. Don't sleep there.
Yeah. You spent a lot of time with the pygmies as well.
Yeah, some years, yeah.
And they're very in tune with nature.
Yeah, completely, yeah. Completely.
And are they very superstitious as well?
Oh, yeah. They trust about the spirit,
Yeah.
And definitely, they are linked to their sensitivity, to their instinct, No, it's amazing living with them. Definitely,
yeah. What are they still? I know that they've been suffering a lot, especially more recently, the loss of habitat and the loss of their own way of life.
Mm-mm.
Is there a lot of efforts trying to help them and to what is it? Is it to preserve the habitats and allow them to stay in their nature, or is it to try and bring them into civilization?
Oh no, it's better to let them into the nature.
Yeah.
But it's definitely their main loss is linked to the the forest.
Yeah.
And you have several action who try to save them and to protect their behaviors and their culture. And it's really difficult to because you don't want to. It's not a zoo as well, you know.
Yeah.
It's a connection with the other community. You cannot avoid that.
Mhm.
It's impossible. But I would say that if the other community can respect more the way they are living, if the other community respect more the area where they are living, like the Indians in America, why they are still living in reserve, in United States, reserve, in
Yeah.
Canada, reserve for people, is the same in that situation,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to do so when you have a huge interest behind, you know. For the pygmism, the main threat is the logging activity,
Mhm.
because it's disrupting a lot of habitats
Mhm.
where they are living, but also heavy poaching activities because they feed themselves in the forest. And the mining gold, diamond, you know, who are polluting the rivers, the streams. It's also a huge issues. So definitely, it's a bit a question that is difficult to answer because you cannot avoid they have contact with the modern community. You cannot avoid the government who wants to do money with logging, with mining, and so on. And you don't want to kill the culture of those guys. You know,
Mhm.
you want to have them living in the nice condition and having the life they want to live.
Yeah.
So to make those different objectives together and everybody happy is difficult. But you have some example. Bon, maybe because like in Canada, all the Hudson Bay, you know, is the Nunavut state. Nunavut.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've read this year that they have received a total responsibility of their minerals, you know, of their streams, of their land. So even if they are part of Canada, they can decide themselves if they want a mining company coming from doing oil in the Hudson Bay, you know,
Mhm.
or whatever fishers or whatever industry coming. So maybe giving back the responsibility of the resources to the local community is maybe the best way to ensure that we are going to preserve their culture.
Mhm.
It's a bit what they are doing in Philippines right now, and I'm amazed about how Philippines is decentralized, how much they rely on the local government, you know, to manage the country. Um, it's really, really interesting, and I really more and more I really like Philippines.
Mhm.
At the beginning, I was not sure about that country, but I really like it.
It's a complicated country.
Complicated, super diverse, but also really in advance on a lot of aspects, considering indigenous people. They really take care about how they can be part of the management of their area and how much they are part of the decentralization process. You know, in South, for instance, in Palawan, this is the local community that are ruling the area. You know, it's not someone from Mani who is sent there, or is not from the community who is saying that the rule is that or not. You know, so it's really the local people,
Mhm.
which is very good.
How did that start? How did that come about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was the easiest way to rules these countries with I don't know thousands of islands.
Yeah.
several culture, religion, communities, and so on. I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with your problem, and when you have taxes, bring it to me.
Yeah, but trying to do your job with such a system must also be complicated as well, right? Because if you have so many different systems and so many different rules according to where you're working, then you have to go and talk individually to every one of them.
Exactly, and it's exactly the type of issues we have to deal with regarding law enforcement.
Yeah.
In the Mindoro Island, we are taking care about 6 different marine protected areas, which are every are linked to a different commune, and the rules are different between each commune. And the support from the mayor as well.
Yeah.
It's difficult to settle a standardized procedure,
Yeah.
process, because you have to adapt your process and your procedure for any cases, which is not easy. Yeah. But it's funny. Is why this job is so interesting, because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
So diverse, and you have to be really imaginative to solve the issues you are facing. For instance, you have a marine protected area settled by the commune. The bylaw ruling the marine protected areas with the interdiction and so on and so forth. Everything is signed. Everything is validated by anyone in the commune. And then you have the mayor that decided that those illegal fishers in this marine protected area are not going to be in jail.
Yeah.
So what you want to do? He's ruling the police, he's ruling everything, and so try to deal with that. You should be imaginative.
Hire some witches.
Yeah. No. You remember when I was telling you about the Chinese and the dam?
Yes.
Yeah, the same thing. The same thing. Just being there, witness,
Yeah.
taking pictures, having evidence, bringing that in another level.
Yeah.
Bringing other people in the debate, and then when you tackle the reputation,
Providing information, bringing education, and then letting them do it.
Yeah. And if you put that on the table and it's not. When you are doing, a mistake, every child is doing the same, If it's still hiding, and nobody knows, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the day your mistakes or your whatever you are doing is putting in the lights in the table and everybody knows and see that, it's getting complicated.
Yeah.
Just putting the things on the lights,
Yeah.
Oh. Then people, he's doing that. Why he's not sharing?
Yeah. Then you get the pressure.
Exactly. Not from us.
It's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah.
Far better than activism, for sure.
Yeah. By activists, you are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Definitely. And definitely is an extreme reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's useful.
Yeah.
Because at the end, you need to discuss to find a proper solution.
Mm-hmm.
So why not starting discussing?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
I know that you have things to do as well, so
Yeah.
thank you for coming here today.
Yeah, thanks
It's
a lot.
been really interesting, and
As usual.
I'm always excited when you're around.
Yeah, the same. Same.
You have some good stories to tell.
Next time.
I'm
I
still
will,
not convinced you're not a secret agent.
Your sister told me that. So my mother as well. I'm fed up, please. It's not true.
That's what a secret agent would say.
And that's happened quite often in those countries that
Yeah.
people are asking me that.
Yeah.
and it has happened to Zanzibar. It's funny. Each time I'm laughing a lot because, sometimes it's a bit more tense because they can really think that you are. And my favorite answer is saying, I'm working for the nature, and the nature don't have any flags.
That's the defense a secret agent would use. It's like when somebody tries to say that you're crazy. Anything that you say to convince them that you're not crazy just sounds crazy.
Exactly.
I swear I'm not crazy.
Exactly. And I'm not.
Yeah,
Thank you,
good.
Pedro.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
It's really good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks a
And
lot.
we'll have you on again when you come back next time.
1 month.
Great.
See you
Thank you.
soon.
Yeah.